this time.
James Russell, you hustling son of a...
It's me, your daddy, Roberto.
Give me a boy's name that starts with the letter H.
Jose.
Now look at me now. How far we go back? Elementary, jump rope, hide and go seek, pity pat, red light, green light, red light, green light.
When you just talk about practice, we sitting here, I'm supposed to be the franchise player, and we're in here talking about practice. Not a game. We talking about practice. We talking about practice, man. But we talking about practice right now. We talking about practice.
You play to win the game. Hello? You play to win the game.
You are tuned into Straight Bet Sports on the Gorilla Cross Radio Network.
That it is. Straight Bet Sports here on the Gorilla Cross Radio Network. Wednesday night, just past 9 p.m. I am one half of your host, Jose V. Rob G, directly in front of me. Big Game James Mays behind the big board, producing the show, doing what he does for us every single night. We are coming to you live from the sports and entertainment capital of the world, none other than Las Vegas, Nevada. We're just hanging out in the studio tonight, man, chopping it up, having a good time. You already know what it is. Thank you so much for joining us. If you are watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, whatever it may be, make sure you click that like button, that share button. Throw a comment in there. Let us know what you want to talk about or whatever you have on your mind or whatever it may be. And not only that, let everybody know what it is you're watching tonight. Rob, how's your night going, my man? Greatly appreciate you being here as always.
Yeah. We just checking out the NBA draft right here on the TV. I didn't know they were doing 2 rounds today. But
That's interesting. They're switching it up, obviously, with everything going on.
I think they do 2 rounds all the time, though, to be honest with you.
I honestly don't know. I'll be honest with you, with COVID and everything going on, I'm not even like all into the draft 100%. Obviously, we know some of the names that are being drafted and some of the kids that are coming out of college or pros from overseas, definitely. But with that being said, man, if you guys want to give us a call, 702-608-3259 here on the Gorilla Cross Radio Network every single Wednesday night. We're just chopping it up tonight. We're supposed to have a good show for you guys. We're still going to have a great show regardless.
Still going to be a good show.
Blair the Flair Cobbs, pro boxer, 14-0-1, NABF, junior welterweight champion, was supposed to join us tonight. He did call me up, had some last-minute things. We get it. Things happen. But we will have him on next week. Blair the Flair Cobbs from Golden Boy Promotions. Things happen. You know what I mean? It's life. Sometimes things come across your table. You get a phone call, whatever it may be. I get that, man. Definitely no problem. We're going to have him on next week, so I hope you guys enjoy the show tonight, though. We have a lot to talk about. Like Rob said, NBA draft. Drew Brees is injured. What's going to happen there? NBA, a lot of trades going on as well that we have not talked about that I want to get into. MLB, Robbie Cano tests positive for the second time now, ex-Yankee, so you guys know I want to talk about that. He's done for the season. But, Rob, we got a lot to talk about. We're going to move on with the games. We're going to talk about the games tonight. You got a college game that you looked at, obviously. I told you I don't want to do the same thing that we do every single night. We want to chop it up. We want to have a conversation.
You want to have a conversation.
Because that's the only thing that we can do. I don't want to be the same thing. What do you hear when you listen to the radio? The same BS over and over again. I was listening to the radio this morning. I'm not going to talk about what station or whatever it may be, but they're over here talking about Netflix shows. And it's a 3.5, 4-hour sports talk show, but we're talking about Netflix shows and sandwiches and what you did last night at the bar.
Dan Le Batard.
No, far from that.
That's all I hear when I listen to him.
It's like I thought about it and I look back and I think about everything that we talk about and what I said I wanted to do, and we haven't been doing it.
Speaking of YouTube, speaking of Netflix, though, I am watching a really good show on Netflix that I may have to let everyone. I'll let all 4 of our listeners know about tonight.
Oh, there's all 4 of our listeners that you see. Oh, it's 6 actually now.
They're on 6 now. One of them's me. One of them's me. So all 5, all 4 of our. This is where we're at 4. You're watching. I'm watching. So we got 4 listeners. But yeah, there's.
Quan said yes. They also always do 2 rounds. Thank you, Quan, for chiming in on the Facebook Live. Definitely.
NBA Wikipedia.
But look, guys, before we get into everything that we're going to talk about tonight and basically jump into the show and basically just ad-lib at this time because our guest is not going to jump on with us tonight, let's go ahead and let you know who we are being brought to you by every single night. Talk about our title sponsor, the one and only Joshua LaFon. because we are being brought to you by Josh LaFon with Simply Vegas Real Estate, a realtor here to help educate current and future Las Vegas locals on selling and investing in real estate. You're probably asking yourself, educate. Yes, there's a surprising amount of adults that when it comes to real estate, don't know the right questions to ask, don't know where to start, and think they need a lot of cash to buy a house in Nevada, which simply isn't true. So Josh has decided to make it his responsibility to teach his clients what they need to know, and equally more important, what they need to ask to help ensure making their home ownership dreams a reality. So make sure you call or text Joshua LaFon today at 702-813-0533. This has been another paid advertisement from Joshua LaFon, 702-813-0533. Now remember, guys, like I told you, if you want to chime in anytime, I see you guys on Facebook, Brian, Alan, Victor, C-Win. If you guys want to talk or you want to chime in on anything that we're talking about or just give us your thoughts, we want to hear from you. We are not just an everyday regular podcast where we record, call it a day, you're going to listen to tomorrow. We are live, people. GorillaCross.com. The Gorilla Cross app. Download it if you haven't already done so. Lots of shows, lots of content on there. Not just us. Shows that come on every single day of the week on this network, guys. Understand this. Radio is not what it used to be. It's not listening to it in your car, AM, FM, what you're doing. Majority of you have a smartphone. Majority of you like to be on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, whatever it may be throughout the day. That's what Gorilla Cross is bringing you. Gorilla Cross is bringing you up-to-date technology that you're going to watch, that you're going to use, that you're going to like, because that's what we're all using is social media. So get away from the car, get away from the radio, download the app today, and not only enjoy our show, but enjoy all of the other shows on here as well. But Rob, we were supposed to jump in with Blair the Flair Cobbs. Not going to happen.
It's all right.
So
we can still talk boxing, though. We just had a great fight.
Let's talk
boxing. It wasn't a great fight.
As a matter of fact, let's talk boxing. Because you were talking to me about what happened with Dana White and everything that Dana White said. If you guys follow boxing and you follow MMA, Dana White ripped Bob Arum a new you-know-what.
They're always going at it, though.
They hate each other.
They're always going at it.
But you know what? Dana White goes at him more than anything.
Yep.
Who's the guy that's always insinuating more than anything? I don't think I've heard Bob Arum actually go at Dana White the way Dana White goes at Bob Arum. And if you heard this last conference that he made, he ripped him, bro. He talked so bad about him, called him an a-hole, called him a son of a bee. I mean, every name that you can think of was coming out of Dana White's mouth. But I mean, if you're a promoter in Bob Arum, why would you say I can build a mansion in Beverly Hills with the last 3 fights that I promoted for Bud Crawford? Bud Crawford's a champ. He's the pound for pound.
Pound for pound.
But yet you can't figure out how to promote this guy's fights and get him the right fights? How's that his fault?
He's still making
money. Like Dana
money.
White said, I got a roster, the biggest roster we've ever had. I still got to find a way to pay these kids, and I pay them.
Right.
And he doesn't make excuses.
And they're still lining up good fights. They're still lining up
UFC
good fights.
is lining up people daily. Fight nights, UFC Contender Series. They're not playing around. So you can't blame Dana White for saying what he said to Bob Arum. Let's be real. Do you really blame him at all?
I think since obviously COVID and kind of put everyone back, but I was always a big boxing fan. I was always a big boxing fan first, and now with everything that UFC is doing, I think boxing is really taking what happened?
I don't want to cut you off, but I'm reading the Facebook comments. But keep your thought. Quan wants you to know that even if Rob knew how to use social media, that we'd probably have more people watching, but you don't know how to use social media. And then he says, yes, you can also listen to it in your car on the app.
While drive, yeah.
But anyways, go back to what you were saying.
No, I just think that boxing is definitely taking a step back.
To UFC, definitely.
Yeah, and I would, like I was just mentioning, like I was always been a big boxing fan first, and now with everything going on and UFC putting up fights almost every weekend, right? They're putting up fights every weekend. You can bet on them. I think really UFC is and don't get me wrong, they've probably been the front runner for like at least 4 or 5 years, but in my mind, I always looked at boxing first, and now I'm really starting to look at UFC because they're putting on really good fights all the time, and boxing is still trying to figure it out, and they've been trying to figure it out for a long time. But hopefully some people maybe come out of retirement. Maybe, I mean, I know we got Tyson coming up 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, Tyson.
I just saw it.
Tyson
Yeah,
Ward Jones.
he looks really good too.
Bro, Tyson looks like he's gonna go in there and murder him. It's not gonna be an exhibition.
I wonder what the odds are. I don't even know. I don't even know if William Hill has the odds on that. But Tyson looks really good. I think Roy's just jumping in there just for the camera, lights and.
But they're saying it's going to be an exhibition. If you're looking at this training, if you're looking at these videos,
Tyson's not
if you're looking
preparing
at
for
Tyson's
exhibition.
not saying. Tyson's saying, "I'm ready. I still have it." Like, I mean, he's James. I mean, am I wrong? I mean, I want you to chime in on this. Mike Tyson, is he ready? Is he really coming in here trying to give it his all, or is this going to be an exhibition in your
Look, I
mind?
saw Tyson's pictures. He had like these black and white pictures he put out. Yo, he looked like a problem.
Right? he looked like late early 90s Mike Tyson.
People act like they would try Mike, like over the past several years when he was a little bit flabby, you know, like the hangover Mike.
Correct.
Like, this ain't the Mike you want to try. This is Mike. Look, that's an old man. I'm gonna just let him have all that AARP, you know what I'm saying, energy.
Where is
He
the
got
fight? Where is it? Where are they having it?
Well, that is a good question. I don't know where the fight is.
Let's find out.
I don't know.
Look it
Someone,
up.
someone
Look it
will
up.
let us know. Someone will let us know.
So Brian
I don't know what's
Aleman chimes in on Facebook, one of our sponsors that we've had in the previous shows. He says boxing and MMA are very different. One loss in boxing and your career is in jeopardy. In MMA, a loss isn't a jeopardizing thing. The cherry
true.
picking and record, where is it at? The cherry picking and record padding of fighters in boxing is gross to me. And you know what? I kind of agree with him on that, because if you look at it, a lot of these fighters that are champs, a lot of them are paper champs. They've probably fought one big name, but aside from that, they really haven't fought that many big names. Like if you want my honest opinion, a lot of people are talking about Teofimo and Gervonta Davis. I think Teofimo is the A side regardless, because of what he's done and who he beat. Technically, he beat the best pound for pound fighter in Lomachenko before they were crowning Crawford the best pound for pound fighter.
I don't know how to do that.
Okay, so wait, so who
That's
you?
a reach.
But who do you think is? So you're telling me Gervonta Davis is the A side if he were to fight Teofimo, just because he's with Mayweather Promotions?
Not only because not just because he's with Mayweather Promotions, but I think just based on who they've based on their records and what they've done so far, I think that Davis should be be the A side.
You think Davis should be the A side?
Yeah, I mean Lomachenko came off that long layoff. It was a close fight. I mean, we talked about how the judges had it like 117 or 119. It was crazy, but I think that fight was a little bit closer. Lomachenko turned it on in the second half, but even with Lopez winning, I still think Davis would be the A side.
Vic, I know you're chiming in on Facebook. You're saying it won't happen. You're a big boxing guy. If you want to chime in, man, give us a call. 702-608-3259 is the phone number.
That's actually my boxing source.
That's
so
your
anytime,
boxing, exactly.
That's my source. So
That's
anytime,
a primo right there.
yeah, anytime I need info on boxing, I definitely text Vic, and he'll give me the lowdown on what's going on, because he is on it 24/7. So
before we move away from boxing, though, aside from that, from the Teofimo and Gervonta Davis fight, what fight do you want to see? Because if we're talking MMA and boxing, just trying to kind of backtrack real quick before I get your answer on that. I got into MMA because of you. When I met you a few years back, you used to invite me to parties that you used to go to with your buddies when George St. Pierre was fighting, when John Jones was barely coming up and was the beast that he was. So I agree with you going back to that statement you made earlier. I think MMA is just a lot bigger than boxing right now.
That's just recently to me, though. That I think boxing was always still the A side, A side. We're talking A side to me. But lately, I think UFC is really taking off.
And I think UFC is a lot more fair, and I think they're a lot more safe, because if you look at the way some of these refs stop these fights, they're protecting these fighters. Like, if you think about it, there's times where some of these dudes get knocked down, and the ref's over them already, like it's done. In boxing, they don't do that. They wait, they count, they give you a 10 count. If you're good, you can come back up. These guys in MMA is completely different. A lot of people looked at it as a sideshow in the beginning when it was getting big. It's 100% sport. It's right there with boxing, no matter what. And trying to get Jamal Hill on the show. He's supposed to fight December 5th. He's a big friend of Gorilla Cross Radio. He's been on the show with Unnamed Sports Show with Quan. We talked to him. We're trying to get him on the show because he's already announced that he's going to be fighting someone here shortly. But yeah, man, MMA is big. UFC is big, definitely. I like what Dana White is doing. I like how he talks. I like how he's just free and open and doesn't beat around the bush about anything.
He don't give a shit. Sorry.
I know we're not supposed to say bad words, but he doesn't. He does not, literally. And that's how it should be. He's not even the owner.
He's been like that since day one,
But the
though.
owners have given him everything. It's like, you do what?
He hasn't changed since day one.
He's made UFC what it is today.
Absolutely.
Because of him, it is what it is. A lot of people are complaining about money or fighters aren't getting paid enough or whatever. You got to make your way. The UFC is not boxing. You don't have... There's a bigger roster, if that makes sense. just like he said, we have a roster of fighters that I have to pay. It's like paying salaries on a daily, on an NFL team, on a basketball team, whatever it may be. You have to pay these guys. Plus, you're opening up your gyms. You have these locations where they're training. You're giving them their food, their nutrition, all of this. So I get that. Boxing and MMA is a completely different sport when it comes to the finances and the money. Because with a boxer, if you're a boxer that's undefeated like Bud Crawford or even a Lomachenko, even though he just recently lost, those type of boxers, they're still going to get those paydays because they made it to that position. But all these other guys that are coming up, they're not going to make that bread. They're not going to get that guaranteed money. They have to fight. Some of these guys are still working at grocery stores, bro, that are training to box. As crazy as it sounds.
As crazy as it sounds, yeah.
You know what I mean? But
I would like to see, since we skipped it a little bit, I would like to see, as two
the fights in Staples Center, November 28th.
Yeah, fights in Staples Center. Fights in Staples Center.
Roy Jones, Tyson fight. Thanks, Primo.
I would like to see, I would like to see Canelo Triple G3. I mean,
why not?
Why not? Yeah, I give it. I mean, maybe you can wait a little bit until maybe people can be in the crowd, but that is still a fight that I still want to see because I definitely thought Triple G won the first fight.
Right.
It was a close fight. The second fight, I definitely don't have any argument.
Second fight,
I have no argument.
Exactly.
I have no argument.
It's either draw or Canelo.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
The first fight, I actually had it a draw, but that I felt like towards the end of the fight, I was being generous just because Canelo wasn't winning any rounds, and I felt like I maybe gave him a round or two because I typically judge every fight that I watch, and I hope that it goes 12 rounds. Because I like to see what my scorecard compares to the judges.
Definitely, of course.
But yeah, I want to see Triple G Canelo again. Canelo just broke up with the DAZN or DAZN, whatever you want to call it.
With Golden Boy.
Yeah, he
jumped
broke
out of his contract.
I don't know if we talked about that, but yeah, he just jumped out because.
And he's fighting Caleb Smith in December.
Yep, and then you got Earl Spence, Danny Garcia coming up. Thanks, Vic. That's a big one. I think Earl Spence is gonna handle it. Gonna take care of business.
Danny Garcia is more of a name to box. That's all it is. I don't think he's good, but he's not that guy anymore to take on the Earl Spences.
I think
he can still compete for a title?
I don't think he's on the downside of his career.
So you think he can still compete for a title and hold that title?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
absolutely, 100%. But I forgot. Yeah, I definitely think Earl Spence is going to take care of business in that fight.
So do you think? And this is coming from Brian on Facebook. He says that he thinks that the Canelo Smith fight is a lot more risky for Canelo than people think. What do you think? You agree with that or you disagree?
I think it is risky, absolutely, at this point in time. But who's he going to sign with, right? I was actually reaching out to Vic and I asked him, and just randomly in the middle, I was at home and I was like, who is he going to sign with? But it's that new one, Premier Championship Boxing, I think.
PBC.
Is that what it's called?
It's
yeah.
on Fox and all that.
Yeah, I don't know who runs it, but yeah, I think who's going to sign with.
That's where Sean P, Showtime Porter, and all those guys are at.
So I think that's if that's where he heads. But either way, I think that they should make that third one happen. Trilogies are always great in boxing, right? Like, it takes a lot to, first of all, even get to a trilogy. And then once you actually have the opportunity to kind of let it go, I think it hurts the sport more than it helps it. So I would like to see that there's some great fighters out there, young fighters, up and comers like you just talked about. But I think I want to see that one first, or as soon as possible, at least.
I don't think Canelo's going to give it to him, though. That's the problem. If you've heard Canelo and the things that he said, he doesn't want to fight him. He in Canelo's eyes, and this is just.
I don't understand how in his eyes he thinks that he he won that trilogy. How do you think he won that trilogy?
And that's what I'm saying. I'm not speaking off of him or anything that came out of his mouth, but based off of from what I've read and from what he has said, he's basically said there's no point in the third fight. I've already proven twice that I can beat this guy, which I'm sorry, no, you have not. Because like you said, the first fight was close. Canelo did not win. It's either a draw
or Triple G.
Or Triple G. Simple.
Yeah.
Second fight, yes.
Draw
Canelo came out and did what Triple G asked him to do. Come at me. Attack me. Let's fight. Let's do that. That's what Canelo did. So I give it to him. I give it to him in that second fight. Why not do the trilogy? Marquez and Pacquiao win what, 4-5?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
It was 4.
And at this point,
right
you
now.
have nobody else to fight. You moved up to fight Kovalev. Let's be real. Kovalev was not going to beat Canelo.
I would like to see Lopez Lomachenko again too. I mean, I know when we talked about that, when we talked about that after the fight about how it wasn't in the clause or whatever, but I would like to see that again. I
want to see it.
I don't know how Lomachenko. I mean, he turned, like I said, he just turned it on second half, and I think he entered it with the wrong strategy, I guess you want to say. So I would like to see a second fight of that one too, but
So do you think that Lomachenko will pull off the victory
Yeah.
or be a lot different in the second fight?
absolutely, yeah, of course. Well, no matter what, you have to come out with a different. You can't come out with that slow. It looked like he was kind of, after in the 6th or 7th round, when he lost like 1 through 6 pretty much, right? In my book, I had it, I think a 7-5, but I think he came out and was kind of playing possum and was like, hey, this guy gets tired, let's get him tired, and then let's turn it on in the second half of the fight. And it backfired on him. I think he turned it on a little bit too late, and he ended up losing that fight.
So here's one thing I do want to talk about.
He was pound for pound, right?
That's what
he
I'm
was
saying.
pound for pound.
Lomachenko was the pound for
How
pound
does the
fighter.
pound for pound best fighter or one of the top
Not
two,
get a rematch.
not get a rematch, right?
You have to give it to him.
You have to.
And if you're Teofimo, so here's the thing: if you follow Teofimo Lopez on social media, especially on Twitter, I'm gonna give the guy credit. He spoke everything into existence, which is what you should do. Anything you feel that you want or you want to happen, speak it into existence. Conor McGregor did it against Mayweather. Now look at him, multi-millionaire, bank chilling, not
doesn't have to fight again either. Doesn't even have
if he
to
doesn't
fight
want
again.
to. Teofimo Lopez did the same thing, and now it happened. Not only that, thanks to your pops, buddy, he backed you up too and threw it out there. But you got to give this guy a rematch. But I want to move away from that real quick. Moving back to this Saturday, one of the biggest robberies in boxing that I've ever seen. Maloney, did you watch this fight?
No, I didn't see it.
How?
I heard it was like a 30-minute review.
If you are the Nevada Boxing Gaming Commission, whatever you want to call it, how do you review something for over 30 minutes? And it's clear as day that there was no headbutt. Literally, even the announcers are going over and over. And the Gaming Commission reached out to ESPN and asked them for their video.
Wow.
And even their video showed no headbutt whatsoever. None. And they call this a no contest.
Already since VAR,
This guy
VAR
should
started
be
in boxing.
this guy should be the current champion. He came out and annihilated this dude in the 2.5 rounds that they fought.
So was it the underdog? Are you talking about the? I'm sorry, I'm not.
So the
I'm not
guy
caught
that
up
the
on
guy
this
that
fight.
got robbed was the guy that lost his belt previously to the guy that he fought.
Okay.
In the first round, the ref looks over and says, accidental headbutt. They didn't say anything of it.
They review at the end.
After the third round, they couldn't come out because the dude's eye is swollen shut. It's accidental headbutt. But now they came up with review.
Right.
First fight ever.
No. They've been doing review.
There's the first fight that I've watched. I'm sorry. Possibly not the first fight
I
that they've
texted you
used
when
it.
I was watching that fight. I was like, another fight. I was like, they do review in boxing.
So it's clear as day. I'll let you review it later after the show if you don't believe me. It's clear as day.
I got to see
There
it.
was no headbutt.
I only
The
watched the main
dude's
event.
eye got swollen from I think it was either a right hook or a jab straight to the dude's eye. As soon as he gets hit, even the announcers say it. Look. 30 seconds after the dude being hit, the eye's already swelling up. So it wasn't a headbutt. It's like, if you're going to use replay, can we please use it correctly? Robert Berg, you're sitting there. You're one of the most accomplished.
He was running the VAR?
He was running the VAR.
Robert Berg,
and I'm
yeah.
sitting there going, Robert, grab the phone. Call these guys and tell them there's no headbutt. They have you here for a reason. You're the vet. Why would they have him sitting there? I'm sorry. That's a bad look for boxing. That's a bad look, especially the Nevada Gaming Commission. That's just the Nevada Boxing Control Board, whatever they're called. Just horrible. That was robbery.
I gotta see it.
It should not be.
I gotta see it.
You guys, I mean, Vic's chiming in 205. Yep, they're everybody.
Who's James Mays?
I don't know who that guy is. Did you see that? Look, James Russell. Look,
James Russell
James
Mays. You hustling. We're about to get moved to Vegas hype.
I know you saw that. Quan
Yeah,
said because
Quan's
Rob
on.
over here cursing. We're about
He got
to
a
get
little
moved to
scared.
Vegas Hype Media.
You about to
I
catch a
told
lawsuit.
you, bro. You gotta stop.
Someone's
man.
suing.
Once again, this is another show of Straight Bet Sports here on the Gorilla Cross Radio Network. I am one half of your host, Jose V. Rob G right in front of me. James Mays doing what he does for us every single Wednesday night. So let's move on. Let's get away from boxing.
Yeah.
I think we should talk NBA. What do you think? You want
yeah.
to talk NBA or NFL? Well, no, let's wait on the Drew Brees talk.
Yeah,
Let's
we
talk
can wait.
NBA real quick, just because we had it up on the TV.
Yeah, it's still going.
We had it up on the
it's
tube.
over. It's over now.
LaMelo Ball did not go number one.
Surprisingly.
Surprisingly.
Right? Everyone almost had him number one.
Even though he kept saying, I should be the number one pick. I'm built for this. I'm ready for this.
Was that him or is that?
No, it was him. They interviewed him, and he came out and said that. Now, if I'm being honest with you, I think he's going to be good. I think he's going to be better than his brother. I really do. I think
he's the better of all three.
I think the confidence level for him, and like he said, he said it to me, it's just basketball. It's just going out and playing another game of basketball. And for him to have that mentality, as long as he has the discipline to respect the coach and respect an organization and be a team player, which from the videotapes and everything that I've seen from him playing in Lithuania, that's the type of guy he is. He's a team guy. If you look at it, it's not about me first. He's not always scoring. He gives up the ball a lot. He passes the ball and has dimes galore. He's a team player first, in my opinion. He went to Charlotte tonight. Charlotte Bobcats. Michael Jordan making some moves there. You said you don't like that move too much for Charlotte. I like it.
I mean, at that point,
I think it's a good move. You got rid of Kemba a few years ago. You got to find that point guard that's going to come in and do what you want.
Him being the best, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinion, the better of the three brothers. If he falls to number 3, I mean, you got to take him at that point. Everyone had him going number 1. They had these three that with James Wiseman, Anthony Edwards, and LaMelo Ball kind of like, mixed up. One's going second, one's going first. And for him to fall to number 3, I think you got to take him. But how much? So my question is to you, after looking at this list of the first round draft picks, right? And I'm a big college basketball person. Once we kind of move on from college football and NFL, and we talk about our bets and stuff like that, you'll be hearing me talk about college basketball more than the NBA. And that's how much did not having a tournament this year hurt people's draft stock, right? Because a lot of these names, yeah, they are international names, but a lot of these names would have been, brought up during March Madness, right? We would have seen, highlights and to who would have went farther and, maybe Cinderella teams. And how much did not having a March Madness this year really kind of hurt? Because a lot of people were saying like this is a weak class, right? You got LaMelo Ball, excuse me. Basically with the team, that they have is USA, right? He can go to college. How much did we all knew James Wiseman, don't get me wrong. We all knew Anthony Edwards, but there's a lot of people on here that Obi Toppin, I can name him out of Dayton and stuff like that. Cole Anthony, out of North Carolina, but not having a March Madness hurt a lot of people's draft stock and really kind of took their names out of the spotlight because they would have got a lot of spotlight during March Madness. And yeah, now it's looked at as just a super weak class.
I agree with you because they even talked about that when all of the tournaments got canceled earlier on in the year. That a lot of these big, or not even big name players, a lot of these players make their name in these big name tournaments.
Most of these, if you look at the first round,
whether it's the ACC, the Big 10 tournament, the Big 12 tournament, the Big 10 tournament, the Pac-12, or the NCAA tournament, some of these little to no name players make their name in these tournaments.
Almost every school that I'm looking at college wise that's here in the States would have most likely made the tournament, right? And so that could have been an opportunity for them to really shine and maybe boost up their draft stock. And yeah, here we are, right? I honestly, as being a big college basketball fan as I am, I couldn't name a lot of these people. Right, I couldn't name a lot of these people that are on this list in the first round.
And if I'm being honest with you, and I told you this earlier when we were having dinner, that I really have not been following college basketball too much entering this draft this year because of everything going on with COVID. It just feels different.
It is.
Like there's a lot of things that I'm not following to a T. Like college football, if I'm being honest with you, I know we're a sports talk show and everything, but I can't tell you too much of what's going on in college right now.
How much?
Because it's not normal. You got some conferences that are playing 7-8 games.
Right.
So
it's still
like,
qualifying for the championship.
Yeah, like
it's
just and to me it's like it's harder to follow something when it's not 100% there. Like think about this. We talked about it.
How about no
summer league?
Summer league, right?
No summer league.
Right.
No big name training camps.
They don't get to get
all
out
these
there.
Kids that are getting signed or drafted tonight. It's basically, hey, you're drafted. Welcome to the NBA. Get ready. You're going to practice in a few weeks.
There was a certain window.
That's all it is.
There was a certain window with July, maybe late June, early July, where these kids got all the spotlight, right? There was the ESPN highlights, and there was, Scott SVP talking about, what was going on at Summer League. And, they're in Florida, they're in Nevada, they're in, they started off in Utah, if they still do that. and they don't get any of that spotlight. They didn't get no March Madness. They don't get no Summer League.
Nothing.
They basically just get to they basically get to walk on to these teams, right? It's like that. It's like they're going for they get drafted, but it's like they're almost like still trying out for these teams and still trying to make the roster even though they got drafted. That's how it kind of feels to me. So it sucks, man. It sucks to be your the year that you come out of the draft and you get drafted in the first round and really kind of nobody knows who you are. At least for a lot of people don't know who you are. So
with that being said, you're saying being someone that nobody knows who you are. Do you think this is going to be a draft where we're going to see players that we don't expect to make a name of themselves, and some of these bigger names kind of flop in the beginning? Not saying they're not going to make it.
I don't think people are going to flop.
Do you think we're going to see smaller names come out be bigger, if that makes sense? Like some of these second round guys that some people probably think they're not even going to make a squad.
I don't know. It's tough. It's a tough situation with the NBA starting December 22nd. Is that what they agreed on?
December 22nd, 3 days before
yeah,
Christmas.
I mean, you just got to jump in and you just basically, you start practicing like you just mentioned, right? I don't know. I'm kind of lost on that. I don't know if I have a comment about that. Like I want to just see how this goes. I want to see how the NBA handles it, and I want to see, there's probably some sleepers in, there's going to be more sleepers than anything, right? Because there's really how high of an expectation do we have for this draft for this year, because there was no summer league, right? So that's kind of where I'm at on it. But it's all new for us. It's going to be new for them. It's going to be new for us. So I want to see how it goes. When does the league end? It starts December 22nd. Does it go to June like normal? Like the finals are in June? Like
Hold on. I actually have that for you.
All right.
I just need you to keep going with what you're saying.
So
I'll look it up.
Like I just mentioned, I didn't really.
No, I got you. It's right here. I had it earlier. Somebody posted it on social media, and it had the whole schedule of the NBA, of what's going on and when it's going to end. Let's see here. Did you hear about what LeVar Ball said? While I'm looking for this, LeVar Ball says he warns his sons about hoes. You'll never meet a good woman during your NBA career.
Yeah.
LeVar Ball just doesn't go away, does he?
He's never going to go away. Well, at least until his kids are in the NBA. But Lonzo's not even talked about anymore.
LeVar Ball is back.
Yeah,
LeVar Ball is back.
It's like he just got drafted, right? He just got drafted again. Like he got drafted. He got drafted 3 times. Yeah. What's up? So
you can't wait till that third. What the third?
No, this is the third. This is the third. What happened to the second? I'm sorry.
LaMelo, LeAngelo,
what happened to LeAngelo?
The second went to Europe somewhere when he was with UCLA. Got caught stealing from Gucci
some
or
merchandise
Versace.
or something like that.
Not only that, there was rumors that were posted around videos that he got caught with a tranny. Just throwing it out there. So yeah, just
edit that one. Edit that part.
I'm just saying it's out there. Look it up if you don't believe me. Look it. I'm not trying to make the kid look bad.
Shout out to his last name.
Shout out to his ball.
Psych.
But okay, here it is. Thank you. 2021 NBA schedule. December 11th through 19th preseason games. December 22nd through March 4th, first half of the regular season. March 5th through March 10th, the NBA All-Star break. March 11th through May 16th, second half of the regular season. May 18th through the 21st, play-in tournament. And May 22nd through July 22nd, NBA playoffs.
So doing a play-in interesting.
I'm not sure the details on the play-in tournament or how it's going to work. I'm interested to see how that's going to work.
I'm interested to see what they take from the last playoffs that we just had, right? How they had the little bit, expanded playoffs, and what they're going to take from this, I guess, shortened season that they're about to have.
I'm interested in see how you're going to have preseason games in less than a month from now. Like are you going to open up certain facilities to allow some of these, young men that just got drafted to start practicing, to get acclimated to everything that's going around them and their surroundings, or what's going on here? I mean, because you're basically telling me, like I said earlier, I'm drafted, get your stuff, let's go. You're going to practice in 2 weeks. Like that's basically what this schedule is telling me, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if you're one of these kids, some of these kids are 19. Think
they
about
are
it.
such at a
some
disadvantage.
Some of these kids are one and done. LaMelo Ball's 18, 19 years old. What's your mental at this point? If you're an 18, 19-year-old kid, like, okay, I just got drafted, but I'm not going to go through my full experience.
You just hope that coach.
Like, you've heard these stories. You've talked to other people. If you're about to get drafted, you've talked to your brother if you're LaMelo Ball. You went through the summer league. You won the summer league championship in Vegas. You had that experience. What's it going to be for a player that's not going to have this? I never played pro ball, but knowing the rules, the regulations, the training camps, everything that they go through, knowing what you have to learn from college ball to the NBA game, I don't think I'd be able to adjust in such a short period of time. Would you?
It's going to be tough. The good thing for them is that they knew that it was coming. You know, it's not like it kind of snuck up on them. Hopefully their coaches that, you know, that they played for and there's, you know, their coaches that they have after college, you know, that they've been preparing them and stuff like that have really kind of, you know, mentored them and coached them up so that hopefully this isn't that big of a difference for them. But they are at such a huge disadvantage. This is a one of a kind, you know, situation here. And, you know, we're going to get the NBA. We're going to get the NBA on Christmas, which is great, right? We're all happy for that, right? Which is what we want while we're all at home. But yeah, there's definitely going to be, like I said earlier, there's definitely going to be some sleepers here because of how quiet, you know, this year's draft talent pool is.
So it's going to be an interesting NBA season, to say the least. Not the regular NBA draft that we're used to, obviously. Not the regular NBA season that we're used to. But I'm excited. I'm just happy that we have sports and that everything's going on. But I talked to you about earlier, Robinson Cano. We're going to move on to baseball now.
Yeah.
Switch it up. Continue our weekly sports chatter. Big shout out to Mo from Girl Chat Sports chiming in. She's saying the schedule is going to be very interesting this postseason, to say the least. I agree 100%. But moving on, Robinson Cano. He's a big fan favorite of mine, and what I say that is because I'm a big Yankee fan. So I followed his career when he started with the Yankees. Second positive test for PEDs. He will reportedly be suspended after he tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs, stanzanol. His second PED suspension. Amid that report, it means that he will be suspended definitely. Now, last time he got caught, 80 games. This time, whole season. MLB's not playing around, Rob. When are these guys going to figure it out that you cannot do what they used to do back in the 90s?
I just don't get it.
This isn't the Mark McGwire, Jose Canseco, Sammy Sosa days.
And he has to know that, though, right? Like, after getting suspended once already, you have to know that. And
the first one was a diuretic.
And it's easy to say.
Diuretic, you know?
It's easy to say that, but I'm a big Robbie Cano fan, too. I think he has one of the sweetest swings in the game. And, you know, plays shortstop, you know, one of the best defensive players, you know, when he's on the field. Definitely contributes to his team as a team player. And for the Mets to miss out on him, that I just don't get it. I don't get it how someone, you know, would, after getting caught once, you know, you figure you would be, as much money as he's made in his career, you would have somebody in charge of that, right? The nutrition guy or whatever, the weight training guy that watches what's going inside his body. And yet it was able to make its way through, and now he's suspended the whole season. I'm shocked. I like Robbie Cano. I like him. I liked him as a Yankee ever since he's left the Yankees. I kind of don't follow him anymore.
Just got your name, bro, Robbie.
Yeah, well, Robinson. Robinson. I liked him, and yeah, it sucks. But, you know, I don't know how far the Mets were going to go next season anyways. But, yeah, he's out. Donezo.
Where does his career go from here, though?
Zero.
That's what I think, because he's already up there in his 30s. He's not the guy that he was with the Yankees. You know what I mean? He took that big contract to dip out when he left the Yankees. He's forfeiting $24 million this year. I mentioned that earlier to you, and Brian just chimed in on Facebook as well. But let's talk about that real quick, because we were talking about this earlier at the bar. It's easy for us, normal, everyday people, to say, $24 million, that's not going to hurt his pocket. It's nothing to him, right? But yet, just like no one knows what finances we have or what we have going on, what businesses or ventures we may have, we don't know what he has going on.
What do you think he's made in his whole career?
150 mil.
You ready? 215.
215 million?
Yeah, I looked it up right here.
But how much of that do you think he still has?
Well, you know, after taxes and all that stuff like that, I mean, coming from where's Dominican, right?
Dominican Republic.
DR, right? Yeah. You would hope he has a lot of that left, but on a scale when you've earned 215 million over the course of your career, not including the year that you're, you know, the 24 million you just forfeited, I think it's still tough to say. It's, you know, in
38 years old too.
Yeah, he's how old?
38 years
Yeah. I would hope
Brian says he's done.
I would hope. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I
Not
hope,
too many 38-year-old second basemen left.
absolutely. Yeah. No. I hope he invested well. But I mean, to counter your argument that you were making to me earlier about how we don't know what 24 million means to someone, you know, based on their lifestyle and, you know, what type of bills they have. Obviously, you making 24 million a year, you got $24 million bills too, you know, like payments and stuff. So, but to make 214 million, I don't really think it's that big of a dip to him. And I don't know though. I mean, I would have rather just left the game and you know, took my 214 than to risk it. Take it. Part of me thinks that he's not even aware that he's taking this stuff. Like,
really? Come on, I don't believe that.
You don't think you're gonna get caught?
That.
You don't think you're gonna get caught? You take it. You're gonna say you willingly took something.
This is gonna sound bad. This is gonna sound bad. But if you're caught and you do it again, you just don't care. And let's be real, majority of these players, and I don't
just don't care.
Don't hate me for saying this. A majority of these players are Hispanic.
Well,
and not only that, Hispanic of big profile names. Let's be real. Let's be honest here. These guys don't get it. I understand. You come from poverty. You come from a certain area. You're from an island, whatever it may be. But you just brought up the point. You already made 214 mil.
But what makes you think you're going to get away with 24 million? You think you're going to be able to rob another 24 million?
That's what I'm saying. Change your mentality. I understand your background's not the greatest and you want to make money, you want to keep going, you want to continue your career, you feel like that's all you have left. Whether you're 38 or you're 28, you want your career to continue. Some of these guys don't have anything left after baseball or don't know what they're going to do after baseball. But bro, you just said it. 214 mil. That should automatically tell you, I got caught once, I don't want to get caught again. So if my career is over, I'm going to play it till the wheels fall off. Some of these guys don't want their career to end looking bad. That's the problem. They don't want it to go out on the bad note.
I don't know.
Right?
I feel like at that point, maybe
I'm not saying it's right what he did.
Maybe I just give him the benefit of the doubt. I got a big heart.
Think he knows.
I got a big heart, and I've got a place for Robbie Cano. But yeah, I think part of me feels that
I think
he maybe have influence to take something that probably was on the ban list. And now he is.
Robbie, te dijeron que te lo tomes. You took it and you're done. That's what happened. Anyways, moving on.
Thanks, Mom.
Thanks, Mom. This is another episode of Straight Bet Sports here on the Gorilla Cross Radio Network. Jose V, Rob G, Big Game James Mays behind the big board doing what he does for us every single Wednesday night. So the New Orleans Saints got bad news. Obviously, Drew Brees got a second opinion on his fractured ribs, punctured lung. Confirmed. It's there. It happened. Got to wait it out. No timetable yet on how long he's going to be out. With that being said, it's now time for Jameis Winston or Taysom Hill. I told you earlier from what I read, from what we're reading, from what we're talking about, Sean Payton came out and said, I have not named the starting quarterback. But I can tell you we're going to use both quarterbacks. Granted, we knew that. Like you said,
yeah.
You know you're going to use a two-headed monster.
They were using it with Drew Brees anyways.
But for everyone out there on social media or people that talk to me on a daily, my opinion is my opinion. I'm not saying you have to agree with me, and I don't care if you agree or disagree with me or not, because you have your opinion as well.
Call in.
702-608-3259. But Jameis Winston is not the guy. I don't care what anybody says. Jameis Winston is garbage. He's trash.
Almost
He's a dumpster fire. The only reason he signed with New Orleans is because he knows what's there. He knows the situation. He knows Drew Brees is older. He knows he might be that guy to take over when Drew Brees decides to call it quits, because Drew Brees was thinking about retiring last year.
Yeah.
That's the only reason Jameis Winston went there. Let's be real. Oh, we got one? Okay, I think we got a phone call. Caller, you're on live with Straight Bet Sports here on the Gorilla Cross Radio Network. Let us know your name and where you're calling from and what you want to talk about.
Hey, this is Neil here in Vegas.
Hey, Neil, how's it going?
Pretty good. I just wanted to say, first of all, Jameis Winston is not the guy. I don't even think Taysom Hill is going to be the guy, but I don't think Jameis Winston is going to be the guy. But I do want to say that I don't agree with it sucks what happened to Drew Brees with the injury, and it could be a career killer, but I don't agree with the fact that it's it was a roughing the passer, and I want to shift it a little bit because, it looked like a clean sack. And at the same time, on Monday night, Steve Lee was talking about how the NFL needs to protect their star quarterbacks. Well, look what happened to Nick Foles. He got beat up, and a lot of those hits were very, very dirty, and he barely drew any kind of a flag. He got hit to the head more than once, and at the very end of the game, he was just beat up, and he was almost carried off on a stretcher. So I think the NFL really needs to start saying, okay, this is an actual roughing the passer, and this is not a roughing the passer, and they need to really say, okay, we need to stop only protecting our star quarterbacks, our Tom Brady's. We need to start protecting our everyday guys as well, or we're just going to let them, play like the old days. That's how I feel.
It's funny you say that, Neil, because I was looking at the games this week, some of the games that I was watching. I was thinking the same thing because there were some hits where some guys got hit in the face, some guys got smacked around, and it wasn't called. And it's like it gets to the point where kind of what you said. What is roughing the passer? What really is going to be called when it should be called or when it shouldn't be called? You know what I mean? It's crazy, but would you agree with me that not only from the game you're talking about that you're calling in about, but have you watched other games and seen other games as well where you would say, wait a minute, what's going on here with this roughing the passer?
All year. All season.
So, Neil, I know that you're a big Las Vegas Lights FC fan, so I got to throw it out there.
Yes. Okay.
I got to throw it out there. I know we're not talking soccer right now, but real quick, are you worried about next season? Do you think that we're not going to have a team here next season?
I'm not worried about next season, but 2022 is what I'm really worried about.
Why?
Because the extension of the stadium agreement between Renaissance and Brett Lashbrook and the city has been extended, 3 times, 4 times. And the last time it was extended, which was 2-3 weeks ago, was the first time there was any actual opposition to it from the city. And I think that eventually somebody's going to walk away from it. And if it hasn't happened by the time the current negotiating period is over, which is, I believe, April or May, then I don't think it'll be extended again. And I think the season will be, the plug will be pulled at the end of next season. I mean, look at Reno. Our biggest rival was just folded last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, they folded. Folded completely, Rob.
Yeah, they folded.
I know we're switching up. I know we weren't talking soccer, but Neil, you called in, so that's why I wanted to ask.
That's some pretty good insight.
Neil's into his soccer, definitely. I know Neil personally. Trust me. That's why I wanted to mention that and ask him. We weren't talking soccer, but I'm glad you brought that up because Reno folding is huge because they were around before the Lights. Yeah. So for them,
they won the regular season.
Yeah. So for them to dip out is crazy, man. But Neil, we greatly appreciate the call. Definitely appreciate your support. Keep watching, keep chiming in, and take care of yourself tonight, brother. We'll talk to you soon again.
You too.
Thank you.
That was great. I mean, just to know that type of, what's coming on in the stadium and stuff like that, that's super interesting. Like that's, I appreciate that look, that take.
Good insight by Neil.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, it's interesting. I didn't even know Reno, folded.
Not only that, speaking of Reno football played here last weekend, by the way, at San
saw
Boyd
that
Stadium.
Versus New Mexico, right? Yeah, that was interesting. They won by 7. I saw that.
But since we're talking about the Mountain West, let's go ahead and move into our final sports chatter segment of the night. UNLV football. Obviously, they're 0-4 on the season. Not the way they wanted to start. They were at Marcus Arroyo's alma mater last week, San Jose State. I was listening to it on the way here. They were asking him about how he felt going back to his alma mater, what his thoughts were. And he said, it was nice. It was good, this and that. But at the end of the day, we were there for another task. And that task at hand did not get completed. Another task at hand this Saturday against Colorado State is also not going to be completed because 4 players have tested positive.
Yeah, I think it's canceled. I think they're going to cancel that.
Now, I have the statement here that I got from UNLV Athletics that I got emailed earlier today. This is from UNLV Director of Athletics, Desiree Reed-Francois. Based on 4 positive COVID-19 test results in our football program, the resulting contact tracing and consulting with our medical and experts. UNLV will not travel this weekend for their scheduled game at Colorado State and has informed the Mountain West and Colorado State. Over the past 6 weeks, more than 2,600 tests have been administered to UNLV football, student athletes, coaches, staff, with a positivity rate of less than 0.6%. Unfortunately, with a surge in cases in Las Vegas community, and despite the efforts of our student athletes, coaches, staff, and adhere to health and athletes safety protocols, the decision to not play this weekend is in the best health and safety interest for all those involved. Now, Marcus Arroyo, head coach of the UNLV Rebels, also made a statement. He said, "We are very disappointed to not be playing CSU this weekend, but understand the circumstances. The health and safety of our players and staff remains our top priority, and we are proud of the lengths everyone has gone through to play football in 2020. We look forward to playing again as soon as possible." They're 0-4. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Just like Q and Scott Gobranson on Raider Nation Radio on Silver and Black say it every single week, I'm going to be real with you and give it to you. I'm here talking about Raiders. I'm here talking about UNLV, but I'm not going to sugarcoat it and make it seem like they're great when they're not. They're 0-4. They have not won a game. They can't figure it out on defense. I agree with our guest host last week, Brad Restituto. This is, quite frankly, the worst defensive team that I have ever seen from UNLV. And I've been in UNLV. I've been in Vegas 13 years, following this team for 13 years. In my 13 years of being here, this is the worst defensive team that I have seen for UNLV football. Now, I understand I said last week Marcus Arroyo doesn't have his guys. You got to get your guys in here. A great coach coaches to whatever he has in front of him regardless. I get that. But UNLV has been a dumpster fire for years, even with Tony Sanchez when he was trying to create what he was trying to create. That high school aspect just didn't recreate itself into college football. That's all it was. Now, they're bad. Let's be real. Them not playing Colorado State really does not mean anything. At the end of the day, UNLV probably wants to end this season already. I'm not speaking for Marcus Arroyo, but if I'm him, I probably want this to be over with and have my guys in next year. I mean, you're not going to win anything now. You're 0-4. I believe this is the first time UNLV's been 0-4 since 1978 or something like that it was, I read earlier. So it's like, I mean...
But that's not the message you obviously deliver.
Of course.
You're going to come back.
I'm not blaming Arroyo. I'm not saying that Arroyo's the reason for this.
But you want your players to get their reps in, right? Because a lot of these players are going to be with your team. You're saying, Arroyo gets his squad next year, but a lot of these players that are on this team now are going to be on the team next year. So I think this year is important to building next year. And I don't want to say that, everyone's getting a pass this year because of what's going on in 2020, but I still think that they want to come out and win a couple games before they actually, take a bow, before the season's over.
I'll be honest with you. I think this college football season to me is just non-existent. Like, it's there, but it's not.
Yeah, there's been, lately in the last 2 weeks, there's a lot of games that have been canceled. Alabama, LSU, which, the biggest probably one so far, in my opinion, to be canceled. But, I mean, there's still a lot to learn. And I think, instead of looking at it as a lost season, I think you should have that mentality, which I'm sure a lot of people do, a lot of coaches do, a lot of players do, is, that are going to actually be around next year. This is a year to fine tune, some areas that maybe
see what you have around you.
Right. See what you have.
You might have a diamond in the rough that's going to be there next year for you.
Exactly. So, you talk about putting people in late in the quarter with like 30 seconds left, or in the fourth quarter when you're down big, but there's no harm in putting a player in when you're in the first half of a game to see how they play, trying to figure out which offense works for you and stuff. So I think, college teams should definitely take advantage of the situation, especially UNLV, with you saying that he's going to have his squad next year, or most of his players, or maybe his first recruiting class, whatever you want to call it. They should definitely use this year to their advantage.
Yes, Quan, we did not finish talking NFL, but technically we're going to continue to talk
NFL
did
kind of skip over it.
because we were just talking Drew Brees. We weren't talking NFL technically. The NFL talk is at the end of the show, and you should know that because this is your studio and you follow the show, Quan.
Right.
But anyways, with that being said, let's move. Former producer, but we got a better one.
Yeah, we have a better one now. James Russell.
James Russell. But anyways,
I ain't got nothing to do with this.
He's like, leave me out of this.
Right.
Nah, we're just messing around though, having a good time. But Rob, let's jump into your segment.
Yeah.
Opening line with Rob G. What do you got for us this week?
I
What
didn't
do you
have
see in
nothing last
college?
week.
You were looking at it earlier. You told me to leave you alone. You were reading, doing your studies. What do you got?
So one game that kind of stood out to me, and it has to do with a home, not a hometown team, but Nevada, right? Nevada 4-0 to start the season. Talk about a team that maybe doesn't want their season to be over, right? Starts off 4-0, 4-0 in the conference. Yeah, they're only playing conference games, so they're 4-0 in conference. San Diego State, comes to town. Are they going to play in Vegas? Jeez, I may be wrong on this, but are they playing? Why did they play in Vegas again, or is that their home? Do you know why? I was totally caught off guard that they played in San Boyd.
I do not know why they didn't play in Nevada.
Okay. From here, it looks like they're playing at home. Nevada 4-0. San Diego State comes into town 3-1. Their only loss was to San Jose State, who we just talked about, right?
4-0. Looking hot.
Yeah, they lost. They lost at home to I think it was at home. Yeah, they lost at home to San Jose State. Line opens up -3. San Diego State, right? You're visiting a 4-0 team. This team is, pretty much almost demolished everyone. They had a big win against Wyoming. They did win in overtime against them. Both quarterbacks for the teams are named Carson. So Carson Baker comes into this game with 600 yards passing. So San Diego State is heavy on the run. Nevada, Carson Strong comes in with 1,500 yards throwing, 1 interception for the season. I don't see why San Diego State opens up as a favorite in this game. They open up -3. You got 90% of the money on Nevada. So the line, and last time I checked when we were together earlier eating dinner, it was -1.5 San Diego State. I like San Diego State. I think I don't see why this game would have even opened at anything higher than a pick'em, if not Nevada favored, since they are the home team. So with 90% of the money on Nevada, I like San Diego State. It's -1.5. I recommend taking the money line, -125, and
just stay away from the points.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, with 90% of the money on Nevada, I think that that line may even drop a little bit more. But for San Diego State to open up as a field goal favorite on the road, that's a big statement, and obviously the people setting the lines know what they're talking about, and as expected, money comes in on Nevada, being at home, being undefeated. I like San Diego State on the road to take that matchup.
There it is, the opening line with Rob G, giving us his college football take. Now, one thing I wanted to throw out there before we jump into our football segment where we talk NFL lines, and at the end of the show, give you guys our picks. I know the name of the show is called Straight Bet Sports, and I keep getting a lot of people that tell me things and comment on it. We are not a sports betting show.
Yes, we are. That's right.
We talk about sports betting because we like to bet sports. But the reason we named it Straight Bet Sports is because you got the straight bet, and we talk about sports and we bring it to you straight. We don't beat around the bush. We don't sugarcoat it. So don't be afraid to jump on the show and think, oh my God, they're just going to talk about sports and gambling. And no, far from it. We talk sports, people. It's NFL season, so we're definitely going to talk about NFL lines because we are in Las Vegas. So remember that. Straight Bet Sports. Sports talk show, not a sports betting show. With that being said, let's move on to our NFL topics, sports games of the week. I'm going to throw it out there. Rob's going to make fun of me, but I got to mention it. So last week we gave you guys our picks, but then we also run down the games like we do every week. And they're not our picks, but we give you our opinions on who we feel is going to win, cover, whatever it may be. I got to work last week on Sunday, and I'm sitting in my car. I got all my bets put in already, done, sitting there on my William & Hill app, listening to the guys on the radio talking about games and what they like and what lines are moving and what's going on. And I'm sitting there going, what else can I bet? What else can I throw out there, right? So I grab my sheet. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Got my sheet here, right? Got my sheet from all the games that, we talked about last week on the show. So I'm like, you know what? I'll go ahead and bet them all. So, I took the Raiders. They covered. All afternoon games, by the way. Took the Bills against the Cardinals. They covered. Took the Rams against the Seahawks. They covered. Took the Saints against the Niners. They covered. Pats against the Ravens. They covered. and the Dolphins against the Chargers when some people had the Chargers. Now, if you count it, that's a 17 parlay. It was only $2. It was a lottery ticket. Rob's going to make fun of me. I get that. But how many people hit 7-teamers this season already? And I can go back and look up on my tickets. I have screenshots. I've hit an 8-teamer, a 9-teamer, a 7-teamer, a 6-teamer, and a 5-teamer all in this year. Have they all been $2, $3, $5 tickets? I don't remember.
No, they're all 2.
Maybe 2.
Don't.
But at the end of the day, how many people can say that they're hitting those type of tickets? If I'm being honest, I'm probably up more money than I am down this year because of the way that I bet. If you follow the show and you follow me and you follow Rob and you know the way he bets and the way I bet, Rob's the big money guy. He may not tell you all his real personal side bets and what he does.
I charge for those.
He charges for those.
Just kidding.
But
I wish.
I don't sugarcoat it. I don't lie about it. Rob bets more money than I do. I like betting. I enjoy betting. There's a difference. As where Rob
You don't know who's
sits
watching
up for
right now.
90 hours a day.
Right.
Freaking Vegas Dave over here.
No,
No, just kidding.
Putting a target on your back, Rob.
I know, right? Yeah.
Rob got all of the money.
That's why I stay off social media. That's why I stay off social media.
But anyways, it was a good week, man. Good week last week. Got me going. I like the MAC games. Made some more money on the MAC games. We're talking in-game wagering and all that. But anyways, got the William Hill sheet today.
I'd like to stay away from Mac games. Maction.
MAC games are good for the totals, though. I'll tell you that.
Maction.
But with that being said, let's move on. We're not going to break down every game. We're only going to break down 5 key games today. The rest of them, we're just going to tell you who we like, whether it's total side, whatever it may be. Quick. First game we're going to break down, Rob.
Start from the top.
You already know. Start from the top. Tomorrow night. Big game. Very big game. Conference game. You got a Seattle team that's lost a few games here. Trying to get back on track. Russell Wilson was an early MVP candidate. Now not looking so much. Kyler Murray was an early MVP candidate. Slowed down. Now is looking like that guy. Have you seen the way he throws that long ball? The way they won this game with the Hail Mary? This is an interesting game.
It's divisional game.
Both are 6
These
and
games
3.
are always good.
Both are 6 and 3. This is your division, even though your team, the Niners, are out of it.
No, don't say never. Say never.
Okay. I like the Cardinals in this spot. I'm believing in what they're doing. I like DeAndre Hopkins a lot. I like Kyler Murray a lot. He's getting better week by week.
Yeah.
Their defense is solid. They're not great because they're still giving up a lot of points, but they come through when they need to. Seattle only has offense. If I'm being real, their secondary is horrible. Jamal Adams, I'm a huge fan of the guy.
General.
I'm a huge fan of the guy. New York Jets, you know that. Got drafted by them, traded to Seattle. He's on a better team, but yet his defense is worse than the team that he was on before. I think that Seattle's on the downward spiral. I think Arizona's hot. I think they can. What are we looking at? 3? I got 3 on the sheet, 3.5. What do you got?
So before last week,
Before I give you my thought on this game,
no,
what are we looking at?
So I got it right here. So before last week happened, right? So Seahawks played the Rams on the road. Cardinals miraculously won the game against the Bills, right? Last second, D-Hop, great catch, 3-on-1, took it down.
Michael Jordan got his logo up there.
It's
The thing
it's
now.
like
You saw
so
that? Yeah,
perfect. I can only imagine how much money he's gonna make off of that. And Seattle opened up -5.5, right? So Seattle opened up -5.5.
Oh, Quan.
Yeah, Quan's funny.
Anyways, keep going.
Quan is not funny. I read that already. Quan.
Come on, we got to move on. Let's
All right. Seahawks opened up -5.5, down to 3. I think it's a little bit of an overreaction based off of who won, just looking on paper, right? Cardinals won that game, but should have they won that game? Probably not, right? Last minute Hail Mary. Seahawks lost against the Rams, which is understandable. They're on the road. Rams are a hot team. They got a great defense. Russell Wilson, wasn't going to have a great game every game, and he's kind of come back to earth a little bit the last couple weeks. I like the Seahawks -3 at home. I think a revenge factor for sure since remember the game against the remember the game? Remember their game they just had, 2-3 weeks ago? It was 3 weeks ago, I think, when they went back and forth. They went to overtime. Kyler Murray was able to, it was a Sunday night game, I believe, drove all the way down. They kicked the field goal. They got a second shot at it. And I think Seahawks are going to come back and I think they're going to take this at home with or without fans. I like the
Seahawks.
I like the Seahawks based solely on the opening line, the look ahead line of -5.5. I like the Seahawks to win this game. Yeah, three. I'll lay the 3 with Seahawks.
I like the Cardinals. Give me the Cardinals. Give me the 3-9. We're doing 3, right? So we're going off the sheet.
Yeah, we'll go off the sheet, whatever.
Well, this isn't my pick, but
No, of
just what we
course.
like. So I'll take the Cardinals there. All right, so these next 4 games, we're just gonna run through them because they're not anything big. Eagles, Browns. You gave me your opinion earlier. Real quick, who do you like?
I like the Eagles. I hate Eagles killed one of my tickets last week, and I think after the Browns took care of they the way that the Browns did not cover last week. For those that bet the Browns, RIP, because for them to take the kneel at the 1 yard line and lose on the cover for that over the hook or a couple points, whatever it may be. I like the Eagles. They just lost against the Danny Dimes. And the Giants lined open up Browns -2 up to -3.5. I like the Eagles. I say take the points in the 3.5. I don't know what the weather is going to be like, but I like the points.
I don't have an analysis, but I'm taking the Browns. Give me the 3.5. Next games, Falcons and the Saints. We talked about this a little bit, but we're going to get through this one briefly.
It's interesting. We didn't even get to talk about it. I mean,
No, you and I talked about this earlier.
right?
I
But
like
I
the
mean,
Falcons.
I like the Saints. I think Sean Payton versus an interim coach. I know that
You'll take Sean Payton any day over an interim coach.
Absolutely. I think he's going to use Taysom Hill. I think he's going to use Jameis Winston. I think he's, there's enough time to prepare for this. It happened it almost happened early in the game against the Niners, right? It wasn't late in the game. So, I think he was able to test it out before that game ended. So he's got almost a half a game under his belt with, testing it out between the 2 quarterbacks that he's got going on this week. I like the Saints. Like you said, I don't want to talk about the spread. I think the Saints win.
Lions, Panthers. Sheet has nothing on it right now. I don't want to talk about the spread on this one. If I'm just giving you my honest
ahead.
thought,
Win
I
or
take
lose.
the Panthers.
Take the
Panthers are at home against the Lions.
I'll take the Lions. Lions +3. It's
Next
3.
game, Patriots, Texans. Patriots are on the road, giving up 2 points, -2 against the Texans. I know the Texans are trying to figure it out. They're trying to get it together. They have Romeo Cornell as their intern coach. They can't seem to win a game. They can't seem to just figure anything out, whether it's offensively or defensively.
That's a lot of teams this year.
But it just seems too easy to take the Patriots in this game, so give me the Texans.
It does. Line open up Texans -3 before look ahead line. Patriots have a huge win at home at Gillette. Texans, scored a last minute touchdown against the Browns to cover. Line flipped from -3 Texans to Patriots. I think I'm looking at currently -1. I'm with you on that. I think an overreaction, huge overreaction to the Patriots beating the Ravens. Now they got to go on the road versus the Texans. Dome Stadium. I like the Texans. It's basically a pick 'em, so give me the Texans.
Next game, we talked about this. I know we were just going to run through this one, but we got to give a little
This is
bit
a
of
good
thoughts
one.
here.
This is a good one.
We were sitting at the bar earlier, and I told you, I'm like,
Restaurant.
call me crazy. That's okay. We say bar. Call me crazy, but this is going to be, what did I say? The I'm not going to say the bad word, but
Doggy dog.
the dumb thing that comes out of my mouth this week on the show, right? Or the stupid thing that comes out of my mouth, as I always say. But I think the Jaguars are going to beat the Steelers.
I do too. When you said that earlier, it just was like,
If you've been following
You read my mind.
ESPN and all these sports networks, all you've been hearing is the Steelers have the easiest schedule moving forward. The only hard game that they have is the Ravens. It's too. I mean, I'm not. Maybe I'm crazy. The Steelers are.
especially the way
Steelers
that they
credit.
handled the Bengals. I know they were at home, but especially the way they handled the Bengals last week.
But you even said it. They almost lost to the Cowboys. I know that's James's team, and some of us picked the Cowboys to win the Super Bowl this year, and I don't want to repeat that. but honestly, call me crazy. This is the stupid thing that comes out of my mouth this week, and Rob actually agrees with me. I like the Jaguars in this game. Not only with the 10, I think they win this game.
Outright. +425 on the money line. That's
Money line.
Money line. I agree with that. I don't know. It just I thought the same thing when I was looking at the lines a couple days or a day ago, before the show, and just kind of looking at see where we stand and what we opened at. I like the Jaguars at home. I think the Steelers are going to stumble. 10-0 is a super huge feat already, and to accomplish in the NFL, and to go 11-0 every game after this is even tougher. So I like the Jaguars outright. Steelers are going to be a huge money line and a huge teaser bet this week. I think they're going to kill all that just like they killed it last week with the Ravens and the Patriots winning outright. I like the Jaguars money line.
Money line. Moving on. This is a game me and Rob both had starred on our sheet. Packers Colts. We talked about this earlier. You're at the book. We're chopping it up. Sunday morning. We're sitting there. We're getting our parlay cards ready. We hear people in line. Packers, Colts. What are we going to hear?
You're going to hear Packers. You're going to hear Packers every week, though. You got to remember that, though. It's not just specifically this week because they're playing a good team.
They're that type of America's team. And what I mean by that, they're a popular crowd favorite. Correct. Right? Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, absolutely. That? Absolutely.
They're that team where people are going to line up to bet it.
So are the Steelers, right?
People are going to line up to bet it. And people aren't sold on the Colts. People aren't sold on Phillip Rivers. Call me crazy. I'm not sold on the Green Bay Packers. I know they're 7-2, but they've won some of these games that they could have easily lost. You beat a Jacksonville Jaguars team that has their third string quarterback by 4 at home. You lost to a Minnesota team that is hot right now, a 3-game winning streak at home as well. This is another game that you're going to call me crazy on, but I haven't been sold on this team this season so far. But I like what Hines is doing. I believe in Phillip Rivers as of right now with this team, with Frank Reich being his head coach. With that being said, give me the Colts minus 2.5 is what I'm seeing on the sheet. Could be different, but I like the Colts in this game. Rob, what do you think?
Green Bay opens up minus 2.5. On the road.
4-point switch, yeah?
Yeah, 4-point. I mean, Jaguars had them on the ropes, right? Last week on the road, in Green Bay at Lambeau, they had them on the ropes. Indianapolis, took it against, I believe it was Thursday night against the Titans. They, that line flipped as well. This line flips. You got 69% of the money on Green Bay, 69% of the spread, 75% of the money on Green Bay. Line still flips to Indianapolis Colts. I mean, not personally going to probably play this game, but I'll call a reverse trap on this where I like Green Bay. Reverse trap. I think they go opposite of of the line movement on it. I like Green Bay.
Next game is Bengals and Washington. I don't have too much of an opinion on this game. The only opinion that I can give you and that I can tell you is that the Bengals have their stuff more set together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They've lost games. I get that. But if you look at the offense, Joe Burrow's doing his thing. He's averaging 300-plus yards per game throwing. For a rookie, that's unheard of. Unbelievable. Great stats, even though the record doesn't show it. I've said it time and time again on this show, and I'll say it again. He can only play offense. He does not play defense, people. So you cannot criticize him on his record based off of what the team is doing. Washington is a team that's just trying to figure it out. They're trying to piece things together. You started the season with Dwayne Haskins.
Is Alex Smith starting?
Alex Smith is now your starting quarterback after he started the season with a clipboard as a third-string quarterback. And now you have Dwayne Haskins as your backup quarterback with a clipboard.
So Alex Smith is starting.
Alex Smith has this. He got the starting job last week. He started again. He's going to start this week.
I may have flipped. I may have told you the Bengals earlier.
I like what McKissick is doing running back-wise. If you follow fantasy and we play fantasy, they've been talking about him huge, saying he's a good guy to use moving forward. But overall, I like what the Bengals are doing. I like the Bengals' nucleus. I like the way the team is playing. And the way they're playing, I think this is a good spot for them. This is a team they can't beat. This isn't a Pittsburgh Steelers. This isn't a Seattle Seahawks team. This isn't a Kansas City Chiefs team that they're going to go in there and try to play a big name team. They're playing a team in the Washington Redskins that has no identity, has no thought of what they want to do on any side of the ball right now. I like Ron Rivera, but he's going through his cancer treatments and everything that he's going through as well. That team is just not ready for this season. I think this season needs to finish out for them. They're not going to do much. We already know that. With that being said, I know I talked a lot, but I like the Bengals in this game.
I will, Alex Smith starting against Joe Burrow. I mean, you already, as bad as both teams are, you're gonna have a lot of bettors betting on the Bengals. So, my opinion, with Alex Smith starting and Dwayne Haskins being the backup, and that line opening up at a pick'em, now is moved to Washington -1, 50% of the spread on the Cincinnati Bengals as expected. For them to go from pick'em to -1, I like the Redskins.
Okay.
Give me the Redskins.
Sounds good. Moving on, Ravens-Titans, another game we had start in here. You have a Ravens team that's coming off of another loss. Not looking too good overall.
They're 6-3.
I had Lamar Jackson winning the Super Bowl and also winning the MVP this year.
Which is still possible.
I'm not saying it's not over yet. But this is another team that offensively, let's be real, they don't have that guy. Malcolm Brown, Hollywood Brown, not that receiver. J.K. Dobbins out of Ohio State, the rookie, has not panned out to what they thought he was going to be this year. Mark Ingram has been injured. He's up and down. We know that. What's their true identity on offense? What, honestly, is all they have is Lamar Jackson? Because if that's the case, this team isn't going nowhere. I'm sorry. From what I've seen, if all you have is Lamar Jackson as your offense and no one else is going to step up and do anything, but you have Lamar, you have Malcolm Brown running his mouth saying he doesn't get the ball, but yet you're not doing your job consistently, what are we going to get from this Ravens team?
I think
the Titans as well. I get that. Very inconsistent. Looked strong. Looked good early. But they've fallen off. They can't keep it going. If I'm giving you my honest opinion on this game, I'm not going to give you, like I said earlier, I'm not going to give you a thought on the spread, on the point here and there. I'm pretty sure I told you Ravens earlier, but I'm going to go with the Titans in this game.
Oh, switched it up. I think that one of the biggest X factors in this game, I mean, both are well-coached teams. But
Great coach teams, yeah.
But you're talking about the Ravens and what do they have to offer and what are they going to do? I think John Harbaugh is a huge asset to this team, and he's been through the ups and the downs, and he is a well-tenured coach in this league, and it's easy to forget about him and what he can do. And remember, he's the one that definitely he's the one that pushed the draft, Lamar Jackson, so he has his quarterback now. I think in this setup here, 6-3 teams, I'm looking at 98% of the money on Tennessee. Obviously going to take the +7 down to 6.5, 99% of the money on Tennessee. I like the Ravens to win this game. I don't really have an opinion on the spread, but if you were to tease it, maybe take a 6-point teaser, get Baltimore minus the hook. I think Ravens will take care of business. They slipped up last week against the Patriots. I look for them to bounce back. I think coach versus coach. I think Harbaugh is knows what he's doing, has more years under his belt, and I like the Ravens to take this game.
Next game, Cowboys Vikings. I truly have no opinion on this game. The only thing I can tell you, I think the Vikings win it. The line is 7.5. I like the Vikings.
It's crazy how you have a Minnesota on a 3-game winning streak. You have Dallas on a 2-game losing streak.
But yet Dallas is still in contention to win the division.
Minnesota opens up -10, and it's down to 7, and you have 77% of the money on Dallas. I don't know who's betting Dallas at this point, but for them to move from 10 to 7, no input on the spread. It's just interesting how that movement went, especially with the Vikings. They looked okay against the Bears. They demolished the Packers, right? I surprised that line didn't go up from -10, but dropped 3 points, actual whole field goal. I like Minnesota to win this game. I think at home they'll take care of business, but it's just super interesting to see how the spread moved, in my opinion.
So we got 4 games left to talk about. We're going to skip the Sunday night game to get rid of the 2 1:00 games, just to get them out of the way. Once again, I am Jose V, Rob G, James Mays in the studio.
Let's run through it.
It's another episode of Straight Bet Sports. Here on Gorilla Cross Radio Network. We're not going to skip them. We're going to talk about them.
Oh.
We're going to go through them quick.
Okay, go.
Dolphins Broncos. You had an opinion on this game.
Yeah.
I don't care much for it. I know people are riding high on Tua time.
They are, including yourself. But
and I'm going to switch it up because I know I said something else at the bar. I'm with you because I know you're going to agree with me. I like the Broncos.
Yeah, line opened up at a pick 'em. This is before the last Miami game. This is before Denver got demolished, got rolled by the Raiders. Miami was, only -2, -1.5 against the Chargers. They covered that, no problem. Line opened at a pick 'em, moved all the way up to -3. It does show that 61% of the money is on Denver right now. But going into Denver, the altitude, it's a whole nother ball game up there. I like Denver plus the 3. I don't know. I'm just not on that Tua train yet. I know that they're good.
Last 2 weeks was good.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
They're 6-3. They're 6-3. They're fighting for that division. They're fighting for a playoff spot. Most likely, probably
aren't they tied with the Bills? Aren't the Bills 6-3
yeah,
also?
they not even fighting for a playoff spot. Like they're
fighting
almost,
for the division.
Right? Yeah, they're fighting. Yeah, they're up there. So, with all that being said, I that Tua train is going to come to a stop eventually. I don't think they're going to ride that to the end of the season. I think Denver looked absolutely horrible. Drew Lock threw 4 picks against the Raiders.
Ty Higgins, though. I picked him up in fantasy and didn't even start him. And the guy gives me 28 points and I lose my game.
Give me Denver plus the 3.
I'm with you. Denver plus the 3. This is a quick game here.
Jets, Chargers.
Take the Chargers -8.5.
Take the Chargers.
That's my pick. I'm a Jets fan.
I don't know about the spread. Chargers will win that game. Next.
Chargers will win. All right. So we got 2 games left to talk about. And we got enough time.
Yeah, we got plenty.
So we're going to talk about the hometown team. Las Vegas Raiders are at home against the Chiefs second time around this year. It's a Sunday night game, 5:20 p.m. start.
God, we should have tickets to that game.
Chiefs are 6.5 on the road here in Vegas. The Vegas Raiders took a victory lap around Kansas City.
Lines off the board, though. Lines off the board right now.
Because of COVID concerns, we saw that. Abrams, Trent
Corey
Brown,
Littleton,
a bunch of different people, but they might end up playing. They're just on that list because of tracing and exposure. Not necessarily meaning that they got it. But I like the Raiders in this situation. Yes, hometown, whatever it is.
Who would expect the Raiders to be 6-3 right now?
I'm not worried about the COVID stuff and all that. I'm not. I like what they've been doing the last 3 weeks, bro. They look very, very well. Defense is looking a lot better, even though they have this COVID scare right now. I'm not going to say they're going to win this game, okay? Let me be real. But if we're talking bet and we're talking straight bets and we're talking lines, give me the Raiders at 6.5. You can find 7 or you can buy the hook and go up to 7, take it. I like the Raiders.
The game's currently off the board
because of the COVID.
Right, and I'm interested to see what line, what they open it up at I read a quote earlier that pretty much almost the entire Raiders defense is on the COVID list right now. Who knows who's going to play in this game? Given that the game is most likely going to go on based off of what John Gruden said, we practice, we're ready to play this game.
And yes, I know Andy Reid's coming off a bye.
Yes, coming off a bye.
Money.
Off first sight, before any of the COVID news came out today, I liked for them to open up at -7. The Raiders already beat them this year at home on the they beat the Chiefs at home on the road. Handily too. They kind of took off of them at the end. I like the Chiefs -7. I mean, I don't understand why this game didn't open up at least Kansas City -4, 4.5. Divisional game. Raiders have beaten some good teams at home today. At home this year, not today. This year. I know they lost to the Bucks, but they lost to the Bills, but they still beat the Saints. To begin the year. They're coming off a huge demolishing of the Broncos, who and their defense looked great with 4 picks. I like the Chiefs. I like the -6.5, but we got to wait and see what this line opens up at because it's off the board right now. So it may open up 10.5, because if that whole Raiders defense is gone, you expect the Chiefs to light it up and for Patty Mahomes to go off.
Final game of the week, Monday night. Tampa Bay Bucks taking on the Los Angeles Rams in Tampa Bay. This line currently sits at -4 at most places for Tampa Bay. Tom Brady coming off of a interesting game last week, to say the least. I'm still not sold on the Rams. Still not sold on Jared Goff. You have no running game.
0.
The defense can only do as much as they can. Jared Goff got paid and is literally pocketing that money, if you ask me.
6-3, way better than expected, though, right?
Way better than expected.
I think you had them. I think you had them coming in last.
I had them coming in last.
You did,
but I still like the Bucks in this situation. The Bucks being at home, they have some fans, as where the Rams don't have fans at home. Call me crazy. A little bit of fans makes a big difference. Not only that, Tom Brady, Monday Night Football, man, prime time. I like it. I like the 4. It was at 3. It went up to 4, so money's on the Bucks for sure.
Let's see what I got here.
And you know what? I'm just gonna throw it out there. If we're gonna talk about this game, I mean, I'm looking at everything, and I've been going back and forth on what game I like and what I don't like, and this is a very just blah week for me, from what I'm looking at.
I've had a couple of those already.
but you know what? I'll go ahead and I'll make this here since we have 5 minutes left on the show, and we're finishing up with the final game. I like the Bucks in this game, and they also are my pick of the week. So I'll take the Bucks -4.
I'm not even going to save it for the segment where we announce our picks.
I'll announce
James
it
is going to put our records on the screen.
I know. Don't remind me of that crap.
No, he's 3-7, and I'm 6-4. 3. He gave
Anyways,
you a
what do you like,
W.
Rob? I like the Bucks in this game. I like the Bucks.
3-7.
I like the
3-7.
Bucks. I like the Bucks.
I rarely say this when I look at lines, but this line is right where it needs to be. I don't.
Okay,
I
that's
think,
interesting.
Yeah,
You're right, you never say that.
Yeah, I never say that. So I think that this line's where it needs to be. For Bucks just took off in the second half of that game against the Panthers. Rams coming off an okay win against the Seahawks. I like the Bucks at home. If they're going to have a little bit of a crowd too, especially since you're saying that, I'm not too sure which teams are allowing people in stands. I've kind of lost track of that, but I like the Bucks at home. I think the Rams are better than expected so far, but coming up against this team, this defense on the road, I think it catches up with them. I mean, granted they did lose against Miami on the road too, so they're not the best road team. I like the Bucks.
You like the Bucks?
I like the Bucks to win. I don't know if they're going to cover. I'm sorry, I should have said that probably, but I like the Bucks to win that game.
So we're actually in agreement, is what you're telling me?
Yeah. Yep, we are.
Really? That was a good show, man.
It's
got
over?
3 minutes left.
I got to put in my play since you already put in your play.
Give me your pick of the week now that we are done with our NFL. Oh, look at you see the screen already? I don't even want to look at it.
Oh, there it is.
If you guys are watching, weekly picks. Yes, I know. I'm 3-7 on the season.
I can't even really see it though.
Rob G's above 50%. 6-4.
Half a 3, half a 7, half a 6, half a 4.
Half a 7.
No, thanks, James, for putting that up there.
What's your bet though, Rob? What do you like this week, and why do you like it?
It was, man, it's a tough one. I think I'm gonna go. Man, I never really have the pick, nailed down to the. I always pick at the end, to be honest with you. I never really have it nailed down before we go on the air. I did like the Chiefs, but with all the COVID stuff going on, I don't want to pick with no lineup, with it being off the board. Thought I was gonna pick from the NFL this week, but like you just said, I don't think that the slate is that great this week either. I am gonna go with my college play that I talked about earlier. I will take San Diego State. Currently, it shows a pick 'em here, but on William and Hill, it shows -1.5. I will take the -1.5 against Nevada on the road.
So give me one more time so I can write it down.
I'll take San Diego State.
Okay.
Let me triple check too, just to make sure it's still at 1.5. Because I have pick 'em here, but that's a huge difference.
Diego State. -1?
-1.5.
-1.5. And then I got the Bucks at +4.
That's your play, huh?
I'm sorry, -4. Yeah, it's my pick.
Let me see here. Hold on.
Got Rob
your
over
horses.
here. Got me over here. All right.
You didn't talk about the 2 you hit at the book the other day too.
About the what?
About the horse.
Oh yes.
The
So
2
real
horse.
quick before we finish up, so I like to bet horses, and me and Rob a few years ago we bet a horse. It was number 2 horse. White
I don't
horse.
bet horses.
And
I don't.
We're yelling. We're like, get up there, 2. Get up there, 2. Get up there, 2. Long story short, the 2 won the race. We won money, right? So Sunday we did our sports bets and everything. I'm getting ready to go to work. He's gonna go do his thing. And I told him I'm gonna bet this horse race. I like this horse. Look at white horse. If you know me, caballo blanco, dinero en el banco, white horse, money in the bank, basically in Spanish. I bet the horse. He wins wire to wire. I told Rob, I'm out. You should have bet him with me. He's like, oh, why'd you go to the window?
I even said it too. I was like, I wanted to bet it. Why'd you go? 5 minutes later,
but yeah, man,
convincingly.
That
The
was a
2
fun
wins
show.
convincingly.
Fun show, man. Anything else you want to add before we finish up here tonight, Rob?
No, I'm good, man. It was good. I mean, we had to improvise a little bit today. We chop it up as we do every day. We do this on the regular though. This is just a Wednesday. This is just a Wednesday for us, but we chop it up like this 7 days a week.
Every single day, every single minute, text message, phone call, whatever it is, we do it. But with that being said, man, this has been another episode of Straight Bet Sports here on the Gorilla Cross Radio Network. Thank you so much to James Mays, the producer of our show, doing what he does for us every single Wednesday night. We greatly appreciate you, my man. Gorilla Cross Radio for allowing us to do what we love to do every single Wednesday night.
James with the Martin jacket tonight, too.
Right, got the Martin jacket. Put it on the camera. Come on, James. You got to put it. You got, look at that.
Martin. I want that for Christmas.
For the fifth float. I want that for Christmas.
The wife is watching. I want that Martin jacket for Christmas.
But yeah, man, fun show. Everybody that's part of it, we greatly appreciate you guys. We couldn't have Blair the Flair on tonight, but we'll definitely have him on again soon. But fun show, fun conversations, fun chopping it up. But with that being said, let's finish it up with this, man. You got a game plan or you don't? I thought I did, and then I got slapped in the face. Now I walk straight, and I do what I got to do. Every single day is one day at a time. You do not know what's going to come, but take it in stride. With that being said, for Rob G, James Mays, Gorilla Cross Radio, Straight Bet Sports, I am Jose V. We are out.
See ya.
Look at me now. How far we go back? Elementary, jump rope, hide and go seek, pity pat, red light, green light, red light, green light.
When you just talk about practice, we sitting here, I'm supposed to be the franchise player, and we're in here talking about practice. Not a game. We talking about practice. We talking about practice, man. But we talking about practice right now. We talking about
You play to win the game. Hello? You play to win the game.